My first impression of the organisation is that I've inherited a strong organisation with a really strong and direct sense of purpose around what it wants to achieve. I think my role here is to refresh rather than change. I think we're talking about evolution, not revolution. The organisation is really well placed to support the industry and to help the industry move to the next level. We very much see our role as being an enabling organisation and one that reduces barriers in the environment. Since we began to recover from the GFC, we've seen some really terrific strides in the growth of the industry, and we're now sitting with about 850 companies and 69,000 staff, and a broader sector that's made up of around 1,600 organisations and 230,000 employees, which makes us broadly comparable to some of the major industries in Australia. My immediate priority is to refresh some of the work that we've been doing. We want to place a greater importance on the policy work around the enablers and the barriers to the growth of the industry. So we have a very strong vision for the industry to become a driver of Australia's economy, and to do that we need to enable companies to do more themselves. So there's been a model over previous years of a biotech getting to a point of development where they can license to a larger company, and another model is moving overseas, and another model is going to IPO very early. And so from my perspective, it's about giving companies more choices in how they progress their technologies and develop as companies, so that we see more of that benefit retained in Australia for Australians. One of my first jobs is to deliver the new strategic plan for AusBiotech. The AusBiotech board's been working on it for the past 6 months, and while the foundations of it remain very much the same, we are going to see some changes in the focus on different areas. So we're going to move to put more resourcing into policy work, and we're also going to put a focus on the capabilities and opportunities in New South Wales. I'd like AusBiotech to be relevant, and I'm part of my work over the next few months will be listening to members and how they see that playing out, and being really attuned to the opportunities in both the policy space and broadly in the economic space. So my vision for the industry is one that grows and takes its rightful place as an economic driver in Australia. We see the major levers as being intellectual property protection, tax incentives, and the broader tax environment. The regulatory environment's very important, and skills has been something that's developed over the last couple of years as a really important driver of the industry. So, for example, we're seeing strong growth in genomics and precision medicine, and the need for bioinformatics is becoming much more important around that, and the use of data in a way that it wasn't as important 10 years ago. We're seeing a shift in the requirement for people that have had global experience in a range of areas, but some of the areas that haven't yet developed fully. Some of the cell therapies that are developing in the sector need people with experience in GMP to be able to manufacture those appropriately, and those skills are rare and developing within the globe, let alone within Australia. So we need the capability to be able to access those skills within the Australian environment to be able to develop the industry appropriately. Well, we're waiting for the bill to go into the Parliament. At the moment, while we've welcomed the carve-out for clinical trials from the $4 million cap, we're still concerned about the cut to the overall benefit for the refundable component. Companies will lose straight up 2.5% of their claim, which will be a significant difference for organisations developing technologies in that less than $20 million turnover space. The R&D Tax Incentive's been a game changer for the industry, and I think as the years wear on, we're seeing more and more the benefits of that cash flow back into the sector. We're working to change the character of that as it goes through the Parliament. We'd like to see some changes before it's accepted, and certainly a lot more clarity around some of the definitional components and how it will be rolled out when it eventually, if it eventually goes through the Parliament.